The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Wednesday in the Rib, and we're starting a little early today because I have an appointment we have to get to.
Hey, it's okay. You know,
so all those people who say, where were you at 10 o'clock? We're going to be...
We were there at 9:30.
We were here at 9:30. We're sorry. We apologize, but that's...
Hey, we always say around 10.
Around, yeah. And it's a live show. Sometimes you have technical difficulties.
That's right. Exactly.
So,
I want to address something.
Okay.
Okay, the mayor announced yesterday that the city has a contest.
Yeah.
It can be found on the web at fallriverma.org/contest. It's to design a new city seal.
Yeah.
There are 6 possible contestants. Okay, or 6 possible seals, and you get to pick one. You get to vote for one. And I've looked at them all. And I mistakenly made a comment this morning about something Colin Dias had said. Colin had said that it looks like a logo that was made on a website. Okay, that is an automated logo. And I turned around and says, I agree. It does look a little like it's an automated website logo. But at least we're only paying $500 for it instead of $100,000, like the FR logo. And because I made a small comment on it, and Colin made a comment on it, where we talk about what we believe it is, Jeff Leary on We Suck at Radio had to call us out saying that we're bullying the contestants. We weren't bullying the contestants. We made an observation. Okay? And he turned around and went so far as to say, and one of them may have autism, and one of them is the child of a fallen police officer. You people have no couth or whatever it was. And I'm like, all we did was make an observation. How is this a bullying of anyone? What, now all of a sudden the left is so far left that you can't even make an observation?
Well,
that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Number one, the city seal has been around forever. Some people made this upgrade is one of the seals Paul Coogan giving away things. Mm-hmm. And as far as it being for a fallen police officer, all fallen police officers, firefighters should be recognized, and they are. But my problem with that kind of stuff is just like bridges and everything else. Why you're going to name it after one fallen police officer? How about all of the other fallen police officers? How about the fallen firefighters? How about the fallen veterans? That's you're narrowing that. To me, that's as I said before. After they name every bridge, every school, put everything after people who were killed in action, fighting for this country, and then when they get done with them, they can get all the people who are catastrophically wounded. Then when they get done with them, they can take all the Medal of Honor winners. And when they get done with that, they'll have plenty, everything will be named after somebody that truly deserves it. But I don't like pick which police officer we're gonna put on a seal. Well, I just don't like the concept of that. There's no
police officer put on the seal. What it is the seals are very interesting. One's like an image of the Braga Bridge, and it says Fall River, Massachusetts under it, and it's a round seal. Another one is a picture of a mill and a smokestack, and it says Fall River, Massachusetts on it. Some say established in 1854, some don't. They're not the most artistic things in the world, but then again, you're developing a seal. And again, the city, I guess, hired a graphic artist to fine-tune these seals so people could get a sense of what they wanted. And that's okay, all right? But did the city pay for that? Is the city paying the $500 to the kid who seal is chosen, or is Paul paying it out of his campaign account? He's got enough money in his campaign account. He should be paying it out of his campaign account.
Yeah, well, look, okay, it's not a particular police officer, but then again, we get into that slope again.
Right.
Police officers, how about the firefighters?
Right.
So why don't we, if you're going to do something that's ubiquitous, name it after fallen veterans. Mm-hmm. Because all veterans have the same thing in common. They serve their country.
Right.
And you're not saying you're not saying Army, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, fallen veterans. I see people driving around with decals all the time that say, I stand for the flag and I kneel for the fallen, which I think is a very appropriate thing. And this thing, the mill, again, the mill, now we're going to remember our heritage. And what truly is that heritage? Because they want to talk about, the great era of Fall River. Well, the era in Fall River in those days was kind of like the Gulag.
Slave labor.
The only people that had it good when those mills were operating were the rich people, the Braytons and the Bordens, and all the people,
the Staffords,
all the people sitting up on top of the Highlands, smoking cigars on their widow's watch, while everybody lived in tenements and shopped at the company store. And if Mr. Leary wants to debate that, I will bring in again my untold story of labor and show him if he'd like, and he's welcome to come on. Show him the part where Fall River is cited. When a mule spinner, whatever that is, I don't know,
I don't know what that is
from
either.
Fall River, Massachusetts, was testifying that he had, I don't know how many kids, and he was living on $125 a year. And he was asked by the senator, well, how do you manage to live and stuff? He said, well, in the winter we go down and basically rob wood from the railroad ties. And then we go and clam in the Taunton River to try to feed ourselves. These people lived in abject poverty. It was basically slave labor. So it's all a matter of perspective. Those mills symbolize things. People had jobs. They got a little bit better when the unions came in. And when everybody had a job and got a decent pay. And I'm not speaking from theory. My mother was born here, went back to Lebanon as a child, came back here when she was 13, spent 1 year in school, was stuck in a mill when she was 14 years old and worked for 55 years in a sweatshop. And when she started, she was making 12 cents an hour, and she had to work 10 hours a day at 14. So don't tell me those mills symbolize something great in Fall River's history.
No, and one of the things also, one of the seals, which I thought was interesting, at least it looks like it to me, looks like a spindle. It looks like a roll of thread.
Yeah, from the mills.
Right, from the mills again. So that's one of the seals. So again, if you take a peek at them, and you can look at them both in black and white and in color, at fallriverma.org/contest, and you can vote afterwards. If you want to vote for it, vote for it. But if you think like I do that, it looks like a web-designed logo, then
And what does the present seal depict?
the present seal depicts, well, depends on which one you want to talk about. Are we talking the official city seal, or are we talking the FR seal? We don't know which seal is which seal
Well, the
now.
official city seal is codified, right?
Yeah, it's codified, and that is with the Fall River line going across the river, the Wheel Tri logo at the the Wheel Tri logo at the
Wheel
top.
Tri logo
Yep.
is something that maybe people have always said maybe we shouldn't have that. Maybe
Right.
like we can have a little. But the old Fall River line was something that was really a piece of
History.
history.
Yeah. No question about it.
The Quequechan River. I
Right.
mean, this city is named after the Quequechan River. I lived on Quequechan Street, and I know what that means. It means falling river
Falling River, that's right.
in the indigenous tongue. So why don't we try to preserve our history, but not depict and make a political statement. We're going to talk about mills. Let's talk about the city. It's the city seal.
That's right.
So how did the city come to be? You know, this is the city. This Quequechan River, the old Fall River line. The old Fall River line was a big part of this city.
Yes, it was. And along the New York piers, they had their own dockage.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Because they went from Fall River to New York. Imagine that.
Yeah. Well, it shows how deep my roots go in Fall River. My mother worked at a mill for 55 years, and my father worked on the old Fall River line.
There you go. There you go. So that's very interesting. So, you know, Jeff Leary, I know you'll watch this show at some point in time. I'm not sure when, but you will. Remember, just because somebody makes an observation doesn't mean they're bullying anyone, okay?
Yeah.
Are you becoming a ultra left-wing liberalist that we've got to worry about your shows as it is? You know, you say that your show is satirical, so at least ours isn't satirical.
We're being satirical now, too.
Yeah.
So the fact is that, look, you want to change the seal, to me, that's the problem. The lefties they want to cancel history.
That's right.
They want to cancel it.
That's right.
But they don't want to cancel the indigenous history. They only want to cancel American history. But Fall River, obviously, has a history. So let's make the seal. If you're going to change the seal, it's just my opinion, too. I'm not bullying anybody. Frankly, I don't care. The seal doesn't pay my bills.
Right.
The seal doesn't help me try to pay my taxes. The seal does nothing for me. And 98% of the people in Fall River have no idea what the seal is, don't care, and the people who come to Fall River don't care about the seal. They care about what Fall River has to offer, which is virtually nothing. And that's the problem. So you want to create a new seal? Fine. Let's celebrate the history. You want to really celebrate one of the greatest pieces of history in the city? Now, you know about crazy ideas. How about having the Ponte Delgado soccer team on the seal?
Right.
They were the #1 soccer team in the United States. They played in the World Cup as amateurs. Wikipedia it. Go up, look it up. The Ponte Delgados, Fall River, a bunch of immigrants and children of immigrants.
All amateurs.
All amateurs, had the best soccer team in the United States. Not for 1 year, but for a few years. And I think in the World Cup, they finished like 4th or 5th. Mm-hmm. So that's a positive piece of Fall River history.
And right now, we can't even get a soccer field together.
Yeah,
in the
you
city.
can't. I talked with Carlos about that a couple of years ago. And where is the monument to the Pontes?
Right.
Why don't we try to cultivate that? I mean, the positive things in Fall River.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So that's enough on this. Because like I said,
I'm already getting a headache.
It's already, they don't like you, so you're bullying some. Everybody's bullied.
Yep.
The wokies, they're worried about bullying. Because I saw a pathetic thing about some kid that worked at a coffee place. What's the one down the south end? Not
Starbucks?
Starbucks. And he was literally hiding in a closet, filming himself crying because he had to work an 8-hour day. And he should be able to, this is cruel and unusual treatment because he had to work 8 hours a day. And he was being tortured and bullied by Starbucks. They need a union quickly. Well, I think unions are good, but fact is, everybody, and now if you look at somebody cross-eyed and if you're the wrong political party, you're bullying them.
Yes, exactly.
But they can hit you over the head with a tire iron, and that's okay because you're a fascist.
Well, and they did that this past week to Charlie. You know Charlie, the guy who stands out on the signs.
The guy jumped out of the car a while back and assaulted.
Charlie Chase, they assaulted him again in front of the police station.
In front of the police station?
In front of the police station.
Wow.
He was holding a sign supporting the police department, and they attacked him right there. You know, this guy, you know, Charlie is got a set of cojones on him because he doesn't care. He's going to let people know what he thinks.
He always has. He's been out there with a sign for 30 years.
Yeah, and I'll tell you now.
Every single election, and whether you agree or disagree with him, you have to respect the fact that he puts it on the line.
That's right.
He gets out there, and if he believes in it, he's going to stand out there to say sometimes he's the lone person. Most of the time, he's all alone.
That's right.
Saw him the other day. Out there with a sign somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's a travesty. Well, how ironic is that? Being assaulted in front of the police station when you're holding a sign supporting the police.
An 82-year-old man. I mean, that's sad.
That's what people should be worried about.
That's right.
That is bullying.
That's right.
Not having a different opinion.
That's
because
right.
Unfortunately, whether you like it or not, we still have a First Amendment.
That's right.
I know most of you wokies don't like the fact that we have. You want to have a half amendment that only your half has freedom of speech. But we still have the right to disagree, and it's not bullying or it's not fascism or some label you want to stick on it. It's just a different opinion.
That's it. And guess what? As they say, we all have opinions, and they're like buttholes.
Yes,
they're
like anal sphincters.
That's right.
And some of them work better than others. Yes.
Well, right on to our question today. Question number 3. Expanded availability of licenses for the sale of alcoholic beverages. Yes. The proposed law would increase the statewide limits on the combined number of licenses for the sale of alcoholic beverages for off-premises consumption, including licenses for all alcoholic beverages and for wines and malt beverages, that any one retailer could own or control, from 9 to 12 licenses in 2023 to 15 licenses in 2027 and to 18 licenses in 2031. Beginning in 2023, the proposed law would set a maximum number of all alcohol beverage licenses that any one retailer could own or control at 7 licenses unless a retailer currently holds more than 7 such licenses. The proposed law would require retailers to conduct the sale of alcoholic beverages for off-premises consumption through face-to-face transactions and would prohibit automated or self-checkout sales of alcoholic beverages by such retailers. The proposed law would allow the calculation of the fine that the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission may accept in lieu of suspending any license issued under the State Liquor Control Act. The proposed law would modify the formula for calculating such fee from being based on the gross profits of the sale of alcoholic beverages to being based on the gross profits of all retail sales. The proposed law would also add an out-of-state motor vehicle license to the list of the forms of identification that any holder of a license issued under the State Liquor Control Act or their agent or employees may choose to reasonably rely on for proof of a person's identity and age. So they're going to allow out-of-state licenses now to identify yourself. A yes vote would increase the number of licenses a retailer could have for the sale of alcoholic beverages to be consumed off premises, limit the number of all alcoholic beverage licenses that a retailer could acquire, and restrict use of self-checkout and require retailers to accept customers' out-of-state identification. A no vote would make no change in the law. Here's where I have a problem with this, okay? I believe that a yes vote should prevail because companies like Walmart will be able to sell wine and beer at a more reasonable rate than the package stores do. The package stores don't want this because they're afraid that Cumberland Farms and Walmart and Costco and BJ's will undercut their prices that they won't be able to meet. So again, we have a special interest group trying to protect what they want, and I don't have a problem with that.
Well, you know what got me when I read this? Do you see who signed the yes?
Food Stores for Consumer Choice, Boston, Mass.
No. The in favor.
Oh, you mean for the...
Robert Million.
Yeah, Robert Million, yes.
Our old...
our old corporate counsel, from the Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce.
That's right.
Yeah, Rob Million.
Yep.
The man that'll advocate for anything as long as he gets paid. So, but hey, look, I tend to agree with you. I'm a capitalist at heart.
Yep.
And competition breeds a better environment for the consumer. The only thing that disturbs me is that when I look at what's happening, where they're saying they can't get people to work, people don't want to work 8 hours anymore. The work ethic that built the United States seems to be disappearing generationally now. To make more places they can buy alcohol and pot seems, it's a sociological problem. And that's the problem. I mean, it's kind of like, I look at that and say, do we need to offer these people more alcohol and drugs?
Wow.
But from a perspective of, listen, and I'm looking at this objectively.
Right.
I have to say, okay, forget about the sociological impacts. That's, it may be a problem, but that's not for us. Like I said, it's up to somebody to start, going back to the old America that was built on sweat equity. But I'm with you. Competition, this is one that I believe that competition is good.
Yes,
Exactly. If you're a car salesman, there's a whole bunch of car lots. See, I'll
Right.
use that analogy for our viewer who called you a bully.
Mm-hmm.
But that helps keep the price down for the consumer.
That's right, it does.
The fact is that it's like when you shop around for a new car or a used car, you go to different dealerships and you bargain, and they're going to try to bargain with you. Because if there was only one place you could buy it, you'd have to pay their price or not have one. Competition in everything is good. That's why I don't like, I don't like the way we do business in Fall River with our development. We have a cabal, a group that has total control of all the development in Fall River. I believe that Fall River should be open for business, not for sale. Get as many developers in here and say, look, we're gonna have a permitting process that makes it easy. We're going to make, let's see if we can make a deal. Fall River is open to everybody.
Right.
And the more people that come in, the better deal you get, because they're going to have to now try to bid to get into the city.
That's it.
In anything. And, this is with you, I'm a yes on this one probably.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing. Alcohol licenses dictate how many licenses a community can have for marijuana.
Yep.
People don't realize that.
Yep.
A certain percentage of those licenses will allow for a certain number of marijuana licenses, if you want to get into the sociological point. But competition breeds
Yeah, from a
fair
purely
prices.
economic
Yeah,
sense, yeah.
Exactly. And what that will do is will actually increase people coming to Fall River to buy our products.
Get drunk, smash the cut. No, I'm
But it will increase people to because remember they got to take it off premises. They can't drink it on site, so they'll drink it at home and pass out.
Or in the car.
Or in the car and pass out. But that is something that will be an attraction to people to buy their alcohol here. The only detraction is something that our state senator doesn't realize, is the fact that alcohol is taxed in Massachusetts. Unlike where the state senator buys his alcohol in New Hampshire.
True. And no, you're right. But as you get to the bottom line, if there's more places to buy it, it'll get cheaper.
That's right.
And that's, as you said, that's what obviously the people who are opposed to it, the package stores don't want Walmart. But if you go to Maine, every supermarket sells beer and wine.
Pennsylvania, they have what they call state stores.
Yeah.
You can't buy it in a regular
Well,
store.
in Maine, the way Maine is set up, virtually everybody sells beer and wine.
Yeah.
But you have to go to a state alcohol beverage store to buy hard liquor.
Right.
Anything other than beer and wine, you have to go to the state package store.
Right.
And that's the way it's set up. So it's been working for years. I've been going to Maine since I was a kid. My father was born and brought up in Maine, and I've been going to Maine. My kids go to Maine on vacation. I go to Maine every year normally. And You go up there and you walk into a convenience store, and if you're on vacation, you can pick up a 6-pack there and take it back. You don't have to go. But if you want to buy a bottle of scotch or something like that, you have to go to the state store.
That's it.
But while we're on things, I got to just digress a little bit. Someone told me, and so I will say allegedly, that our mayor put out some kind of thing that said, you must vote for the rail. You must vote for the rail because Fall River...
Another Brad Kilby.
Fall River will stagnate if you don't. Well, I guess what he means is that if you don't vote for the rail and make all his friends rich, Fall River will be like the school department. We've been stagnating for years there. We've dumped hundreds of millions of dollars in here while you were in it, and then as a school committeeman, and now as a mayor, and we have an underperforming school. We couldn't crack the top 200. That's stagnation, Mr. Mayor. And it's stagnation that still goes unaddressed. All you do is add more jobs. You're adding 2 more jobs, right?
another
director trying to split a union, which is actually a prohibited practice.
Right.
So, listen. This thing is nuts. This rail is nuts. Actually, we found out. You found out
today.
The other day. Today, everybody, it's all over the news now. The director of the MBTA is resigning. Why? Because they're falling off a cliff.
That's right.
They're hundreds of millions of dollars in debt. They're being investigated. The orange line is still down.
That's right.
It's a mess. So what did we say at the beginning of this process? Remember I said it's like getting into a time machine and going back and buying a ticket on a Titanic.
Yeah.
So we want to get into a absolute, basically the poster child for in government incompetence. The MBTA is the worst run. The only thing worse than the MBTA is the Big Dig.
And Fall River government.
So listen, you don't believe you're going to start paying more at the end? The director's bailing out.
That's it.
He's bailing out. I don't want to be investigated. I'm going to be gone.
His resignation is effective
You know what
January
the
3rd.
director is saying? We're toast. We got $2 billion from the feds, and we're still $526 million in the hole. I'm getting out of town.
That's it. Getting out of town with my pension and my payout.
Because when the poo-poo hits the fan,
I don't want to be there to.
I don't want to be around.
I don't want to get hit with the spray. So, and another thing I found out today, just as you were coming in the door, is that New Bedford has a whole bunch of people that are against the rail. So Fall River isn't the only community against the rail. There are different reasons why people are against the rail, but they're against the rail.
Apparently that group can actually read Boston papers and look at reports and stuff. But look when they finally decided to report on it. Less than a week before the election.
Right.
They didn't report all those articles that go back to 2018 that we managed to get.
Right.
Nothing. It was crickets on local media.
It's still crickets.
Like Herald News, nothing. Local media, nothing. Radio, nothing. Local TV, nothing. Although they did have Nelson on local TV for a short bit. But it's like, forget it. We're not going to tell them. And you know what they're going to say? Down the line, when it bites us in the butt, they're going to go, oh, I guess all you for self-fulfilling prophecy, you people can't read.
That's
you
it.
You should have known this.
That's it. Well, I want to thank you all for watching. Remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We'll see you on Friday. Have a great day. It's going to be nice out there.